Welcome to Crazy HOA Moments. The vendor showed up fast because she kept them paid. This is your last chance to show proof. Karen claimed I forged the guest pass and yelled that she would report it as fraud while the tow driver waited. The hook was already attached to my sedan. The chain pulled taut, and Donna Young stood 3 feet away with her handheld radio raised like she was calling in an airstrike. I live in Las Cruces, New Mexico, under the iron thumb of the Pinecrest Village Terrace Association, and I work as an EMT dispatcher, which means missing a shift because my car got towed is not an option. Donna jabbed a finger at the paper permit in my windshield. That is not valid. I already confirmed it with the office. The tow driver, a guy in coveralls with grease on his hands, glanced at me and then at Donna, clearly unsure who to believe. I pulled the dashcam card from my pocket and held it up. This has the whole exchange on video, including the part where the office manager signed the permit herself. Donna's face went red. If you make me repeat myself, it gets more expensive. That was her catchphrase, the line she used every time someone pushed back, and I had heard it twice already this month. The tow driver wiped his hands on a rag. Ma'am, if he has proof the permit is legit, I cannot take the car. Donna's eyes narrowed. Make it public. I love watching people get embarrassed. She said it like a dare, like she wanted me to escalate, and I knew right then she had no idea what was coming. I stopped arguing and started collecting, because the endgame was already set. I had been gathering evidence for weeks, and this was just the latest move in a game she did not know she was losing. The permit had been issued 3 days ago when my sister visited from Albuquerque. She stayed 2 nights, parked in the guest spot with a pass I picked up from the office, and everything was fine until Donna decided it was not. The Pinecrest Village Terrace Association is the kind of place where the board calls everything a towable offense. Guest parking after dark expired decals, street parking during the day, fire lane adjacency, you name it. Donna ran the Community Standards Committee like it was a paramilitary operation, and her handheld radio was always clipped to her belt like she was dispatch for a SWAT team. I pointed at the windshield. The permit has the office stamp, the date, and the plate number. You can call the manager if you want. Donna snorted. I already did. She said you forged it. The tow driver shifted his weight. Ma'am, I am going to need something in writing if you are claiming fraud. Donna pulled out her phone and started typing. Fine. I will send the authorization right now. I felt my pulse kick up, not from fear, but from the realization that she was about to put her lie in writing, which was exactly what I needed. A neighbor walked out of a nearby unit, arms crossed, smirking. She was a real estate agent named Claire who had warned me months ago that Donna's enforcement tactics would eventually blow up. Claire had seen 3 buyers back out of sales in the neighborhood because of HOA horror stories, and she was collecting her own file. Hey Donna, she called out. I saw the office manager hand him that pass on Monday. You want me to call her right now? Donna ignored her and kept typing. The tow driver looked at me. Sir, do you have a number for the office? I rattled off the number from memory. The driver dialed, put it on speaker, and the manager picked up on the second ring. Pinecrest office, this is Linda. The driver introduced himself and explained the situation. Linda sighed. Oh my God, not again. Yes, I issued that permit myself. The guest stayed 2 nights, left yesterday, and the permit is valid through tomorrow. Donna, if you are listening, this is the 3rd time this month you have tried to tow someone over a valid pass. Donna's face went from red to purple. That is not protocol. Linda's voice went cold. Donna, you are not the manager. Stop calling tow companies without authorization. The driver unhooked the chain. Ma'am, I am not towing this car. Donna shoved her phone in his face. I have board authority. The driver shook his head. Not without a signed work order from the office or the management company. He climbed into the cab and drove off, leaving Donna standing in the middle of the parking lot with her radio in one hand and her phone in the other. Claire walked over. You know she is going to come after you harder now, right? I nodded. I am counting on it. Because the next step was already in motion, and Donna had no idea how much I had been documenting. The trouble started 2 months ago when I moved into Pinecrest. I work nights as an EMT dispatcher, which means I sleep during the day, and I need my car parked close because I get called in on short notice. The HOA has a rule that says guest spots are for guests only, but the resident spots are assigned, and mine is a full block away from my unit. I asked the board if I could use a closer guest spot during the day since I work nights, and they said no. Donna sent me a letter that said guest spots are for compliance enforcement visibility, whatever that means, and any resident parking there would be towed immediately. I started keeping a clipboard with color-coded sticky notes every time Donna sent a notice or threatened to tow. Pink for warnings, yellow for fee threats, green for meeting dates. Within a month, I had a full sheet. The first warning said my guests would be cited, clamped, or towed if they parked again. That was escalation step 1. The second notice was a lien threat that included bogus legal fees and an invented enforcement surcharge. That was escalation step 2. The fees added up to $1,200, and the letter said the HOA could place a lien on my unit if I did not pay within 10 days. Claire had been the one to connect the dots. She stopped by one afternoon and handed me a stack of meeting minutes from the past year. You need to see this. Half the enforcement votes never had a quorum. Donna has been pushing through rules without a legal vote, and she is doing it under the table. I flipped through the minutes, and sure enough, meeting after meeting showed fewer than the required board members present. The HOA bylaws required 5 members for a quorum, but most of the enforcement votes showed only 3 signatures. That meant the new towing rules, the guest parking bans, the decal requirements, none of them were legally adopted. The twist came when I noticed the dates. Every enforcement meeting where the quorum was short happened on a weekday afternoon, which violated the open meeting rules under New Mexico law. HOA boards have to give 72 hours notice and hold meetings at reasonable times so owners can attend. Donna was scheduling them during work hours and not posting notices, which meant the votes were void. I copied everything, highlighted the quorum logs, and added a cover page with a statute citation. That became my evidence file, and I knew it would force a written response the moment I submitted it. But the trump card was something else. A few weeks earlier, I had filed a complaint with the county regarding the HOA's enforcement vendor relationships. Donna had been threatening to fine or blacklist tow vendors who refused to play along, and one of the drivers had filed his own complaint. The county sent me a confirmation letter, and I kept a copy in my car. That letter was proof that the HOA was already under investigation for enforcement abuse, and I planned to bring a second copy for the HOA attorney so the legal risk was obvious. I had not told anyone yet, not even Claire, because the timing had to be perfect. The next morning, I got another notice taped to my door. It said the HOA was launching a new enforcement wave at midnight, and all guest parking violations would result in immediate towing and a $200 fine. Donna was using the clock like a weapon, trying to force compliance before I could appeal. The notice also said that if I had any guests park again, the tow vendor had authorization to clamp, boot, or impound on site. I took a photo of the notice, sent it to Claire, and added it to my clipboard. The time pressure was real, because my sister was planning to visit again next week, and I knew Donna would be watching. The side complication hit that afternoon. I reviewed my dashcam footage from the tow truck incident, and the glare from the windshield had washed out half the frame. You could hear everything, but you could not see Donna's face clearly in the critical moment when she accused me of forgery. She jumped on that immediately. I got a text from an unknown number that said, "Your fake dashcam clip proves nothing. The angle is blocked and everyone will see you edited it." I knew it was her. The footage was still useful because the audio was clean, but it gave Donna an opening to claim I was manufacturing evidence. Claire called me that night. The board scheduled an emergency meeting for tomorrow at 10 in the morning. Donna is pushing for a vote to authorize blanket towing for any guest vehicle, no warnings. If it passes, they can tow your sister the second she parks. I asked if the meeting was posted. Claire laughed. "Of course not. It is another stealth session. I am only hearing about it because the secretary felt bad and told me." That was my opening. If Donna held another illegal meeting and pushed through another unenforceable rule, I could challenge the whole enforcement structure in one move. I started prepping my binder. The binder was 3 inches thick. Tab 1 was the minutes with the quorum failures highlighted. Tab 2 was the open meeting statute with the relevant sections marked. Tab 3 was the lien threat letter with the bogus fees. Tab 4 was a timeline of every notice, every threat, every tow attempt. Tab 5 was the county complaint confirmation. I printed a second copy of the complaint letter and put it in a labeled envelope for the HOA attorney. The plan was simple: walk into the meeting, let Donna try to ram through the vote, and then drop the whole file on the table before she could gavel it closed. The hearing arrival was set piece 1. I walked into the clubhouse at 9:55 with the binder under my arm and the envelope in my hand. Donna was already at the head table with 2 other board members, and she saw me the second I stepped through the door. Her face went pale, then red. The secretary looked confused. "Sir, this is a closed session." I smiled. "New Mexico statute says all HOA meetings are open unless they involve litigation or personnel. Which one is this?" The secretary glanced at Donna, who was gripping the edge of the table. Donna cleared her throat. "We are discussing enforcement policy." "Then it is open." I sat down in the front row and set the binder on my lap. Donna tried to regain control. "We are here to vote on an updated guest parking enforcement resolution. All guest vehicles will require pre-authorization from the office, and any vehicle without a current day permit will be subject to immediate towing." I raised my hand. "Do you have a quorum?" Donna blinked. "What?" I pointed at the table. "There are 3 of you. The bylaws require 5 for a vote." Donna's jaw tightened. "We have proxies. Show me the proxies." She did not answer. I opened the binder to tab 1. Because according to the minutes from the last 6 enforcement meetings, you never had a quorum for any of them. The room went silent. One of the board members, a guy named Rick, leaned forward. "Can I see that?" I handed him the binder. He flipped through the minutes, his face going pale. "Donna, is this true?" Donna stood up. "Those minutes are internal drafts." I closed the binder. Internal drafts that were filed with the management company and used to justify enforcement actions. That makes them official records. And under New Mexico law, you violated open meeting rules by holding them during work hours without proper notice. The HOA attorney is going to love this. I pulled out the envelope. "Speaking of which, I have something for counsel." Donna lunged across the table. "You do not get to dictate procedure." I stayed calm. "I am not dictating anything. I am just making sure the attorney knows you are under county investigation for enforcement abuse." I slid the envelope across the table. "That is a copy of the complaint confirmation. The original is already filed. If this vote happens, the county will add it to the case as evidence of retaliation." Rick opened the envelope, read the letter, and dropped it like it was radioactive. "Donna, we need to table this." Donna's voice went shrill. "We are not tabling anything. This is a legal vote." Rick stood up. "No, it is not. If we do not have a quorum, the vote is void. And if we are under investigation, we cannot push through new enforcement without council review. I am calling Linda." He pulled out his phone and stepped into the hallway. Donna sat down hard, her hands shaking. The 3rd board member, a woman named Susan, looked at me. "What do you want?" I leaned back. "I want the enforcement checklist updated so nobody can weaponize the rules. I want the lien threat rescinded. And I want a written apology for the forged pass accusation." Susan nodded slowly. "I think we can do that." The meeting ended 10 minutes later with no vote. Rick came back in and said Linda was drafting a response, and the board would meet again in 2 weeks with a full quorum and proper notice. Donna left without saying a word, her radio silent for the first time in months. Claire met me outside. "You just nuked her entire power base." I grinned. "Not yet. The final piece comes next." Because Donna was not done and I knew the tow yard showdown was coming. 2 days later, my sister showed up again. She parked in the guest spot with a fresh permit from Linda, and I made sure the dashcam was running from the second she pulled in. Donna appeared within an hour. She did not say a word, just walked around the car, took photos, and made a call. 30 minutes later, a tow truck rolled up. This time, it was a different company, and the driver looked like he had been briefed. He hooked the car without asking questions, and my sister came running out. "What are you doing?" The driver handed her a slip. "HOA authorization. Take it up with them." I stepped outside. "Let me see the authorization." If you are enjoying this HOA nightmare, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories where Karens get destroyed by paperwork. The driver handed me a printed email. It was from Donna, sent to the tow company, claiming the vehicle was parked illegally and had been flagged for repeat violations. There was no management company signature, no office stamp, nothing official, just Donna's name and her title as Community Standards Chair. I took a photo of it. "This is not valid. You need a work order from the management company or a signed notice from the board." The driver shrugged. "Lady paid the dispatch fee. If you have a problem, take it up with her." He climbed into the cab, and my sister's car disappeared down the street. The tow yard was on the south side of town, a fenced lot surrounded by chain link and razor wire. I drove over with my sister, and we walked up to the office window. A guy in a stained shirt looked up from a computer. "Help you?" "I need the authorization paperwork and the fee breakdown for the car you just impounded." He squinted at the screen. "That one came in from an HOA. You gotta pay the fees before I release it. How much?" $350 for the tow, $75 per day storage, and $100 administrative fee. My sister gasped. "That is robbery." The guy shrugged. "Take it up with the HOA." I leaned closer. "I want to see the authorization in writing." The guy pulled out a folder and slid a single page through the slot. It was the same email from Donna, printed on plain paper. No letterhead, no signatures, no official anything. I took another photo. "This is not a valid work order." "You towed a car based on an email from someone with no authority." The guy's face hardened. "Look, man, if you do not pay, the car stays. I am not the one who authorized it. Call your HOA." I pulled out my phone and called Claire. She picked up on the first ring. "I need you to call Linda and tell her Donna just impounded my sister's car with a fake authorization. I am at the tow yard now, and they are refusing to release it." Claire called back 5 minutes later. "Linda is pissed. She is calling the tow company right now." 2 minutes after that, the guy's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went white. Yeah, I got it." He hung up and looked at me. "We are releasing the car. No fees." I raised an eyebrow. What changed his mind? He slid a refund slip across the counter. "Linda just threatened to pull the HOA's contract and report us to the state for operating without proper authorization. My boss does not want that heat." My sister grabbed the keys, and we walked out to her car. Donna was standing by the gate. She did not look angry anymore. She looked tired. "You just cost me my committee chair." I stopped a few feet away. "You cost yourself. You have been running enforcement like a personal vendetta, and you got caught." Donna shook her head. "The board voted this morning. They are adopting an enforcement checklist that limits my authority. I cannot call tow companies directly anymore. Everything has to go through Linda." I nodded. "Good. That is exactly what should have happened months ago." Donna looked at the printed email in my hand. "You are going to use that against me, are you not?" I folded it and tucked it in my pocket. "Only if you come after me again." The final board meeting was set piece 2. It happened 2 weeks later, exactly as promised, with a full quorum and proper notice posted 72 hours in advance. Donna was not at the table. Rick chaired the meeting, and Linda sat beside him with a printed agenda. The first item was the enforcement checklist. Rick read it aloud. "All towing authorizations must be approved in writing by the management company. All fines must follow a documented warning process. All liens require a vote with a quorum, and all enforcement actions must be logged and made available to owners on request." Susan moved to adopt it. The vote was unanimous. Rick looked at me. "We owe you an apology. The forged pass accusation was out of line, and the lien threat was not authorized by the board. We are rescinding the fees and the lien. Linda is drafting a letter that will go in your file." I nodded. "Appreciated." Susan leaned forward. "We also want to address the guest parking issue. The current rules are too restrictive, and they are causing problems for residents who work non-standard hours. We are proposing a new policy that allows residents to request a flexible parking arrangement if their work schedule requires it." That passed unanimously, too. The meeting wrapped up in under an hour. As I was leaving, a guy I had never met stopped me in the hallway. "I heard what you did. I have been dealing with Donna for 2 years, and she has been threatening to tow my work van every week." "Thank you." Another owner, a woman in scrubs, nodded. "Same. She tried to fine me for having a home office because she said my clients were using guest spots. This checklist is going to save us all a fortune." Claire walked out with me. "You know Donna is done, right? The board met yesterday and voted to remove her from the committee. She can stay on the board, but she has no enforcement authority anymore." I grinned. "Good." The funny karma moment came a week later. Donna got a notice taped to her own door. It was from Linda, citing a violation for parking her car in a fire lane while unloading groceries. The fine was $50 and the notice included a warning that repeat violations would result in towing. Donna called an emergency board meeting to appeal it, but Rick shut her down. The checklist applies to everyone, Donna. If you want to appeal, you can file the form like anyone else. A neighbor who had been watching from across the courtyard started laughing. Donna, you literally wrote the rule that says fire lane parking is an automatic fine. Rick smiled. Exactly. Motion to uphold the fine? The vote was 4-0, with Donna abstaining. The room erupted in laughter, and Donna walked out without another word. The outcome was clean. The HOA had to produce records under state law, and the hidden emails came out during the review. Donna had been coordinating with the tow company off the books, promising them exclusive contracts in exchange for aggressive enforcement. The board had to admit the enforcement was targeted, and Linda sent a formal apology letter to every owner who had been fined or towed in the past 6 months. The refunds totaled over $15,000. The tow company lost the contract, and the county investigation expanded to include the vendor relationship. Donna resigned from the board 3 months later and moved out of the neighborhood. The board adopted the enforcement checklist as a permanent policy amendment, and the new rules included a mandatory appeal process, a cap on fines, and a ban on targeting individual owners. Claire told me later that property values in the neighborhood went up because buyers were no longer scared off by the enforcement horror stories. My sister visited twice more that year, and both times she parked in the guest spot with 0 problems. Linda even sent her a thank you card for being patient during the whole mess. I kept the clipboard with the color-coded sticky notes as a souvenir, and every time I see it, I remember the look on Donna's face when the tow driver unhooked my car. The dash cam is still running. I never turn it off now, because I learned the hard way that documentation is the only thing that matters when you are up against someone who thinks the rules do not apply to them. The county complaint is still open, but I heard through Claire that the investigator is recommending new oversight rules for HOA enforcement vendors across the state. If that happens, it will be because one dispatcher refused to let a vindictive board chair steal his car and his peace of mind. The trump card worked exactly as planned. The documented appeal overturned the decision on the record, and Karen was outvoted so hard the room laughed. The board adopted an enforcement checklist that limits Karen tactics, and the neighbor fact-checked her instantly when she tried to shame me one last time. I still work nights, I still park close to my unit, and I still keep a copy of the complaint confirmation in my glove box just in case. But these days, the parking lot is quiet. No tow trucks, no handheld radios, no clipboard warriors prowling the rows looking for violations. Just neighbors coming and going, living their lives the way it should have been from the start. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.